Hello students, welcome to the Writers Workshop videos. I'm making these for all of our courses at Belhaven to remind students of good academic writing, and hopefully you'll be able to take some of these skills and really use them across the board in all of your courses. This first one that we're going to start with today, it might sound kind of basic to go back to the idea of paragraph writing, but I'm a firm believer that if you can write a good paragraph, you can really write an essay of any length. And so we're going to start with the basics of paragraph writing, and I'm also going to talk a bit about academic writing style. When you move into college courses, there is a certain style of writing that you want to adapt that's very different from the type of speaking and writing we do in other situations. So I'm going to cover some of the basics of that as well. So part of academic writing style is knowing how to write in third-person point of view. A lot of times in more informal writing situations, we write in first person where we use pronouns like I and me, or we write or speak in second person point of view when we use the pronoun you or your. But when you're in a college course, you want to write in third person point of view unless your instructor has specifically asked you to write in first person, which of course follow your instructor's guidelines. But most of the time you want to write in third person point of view because it's more of a formal writing style and allows you to put your ideas first. So that's something that we're going to be looking at today. Also, avoiding what I call announcing, where you essentially tell your reader what you're getting ready to write about in your paper. That is something that you definitely want to move away from when you get into college writing. We want writing in college to sound more formal rather than our everyday speech and writing. And we definitely want to avoid slang, cliches, abbreviations, things like that that just make our writing seem more informal. So we're going to be looking at some examples of all of these. First of all, point of view. So third person point of view is the most appropriate to use in college courses. So if you don't know those pronouns, I've given you some examples here on the screen. Also, you can use people like Americans, students, nurses, groups of people like that. That's third person point of view, and that's kind of your go-to unless you're told otherwise. First person, again, you have your singular I, me, but also those plural first person pronouns like our, us, we. Those are all first person. Again, that just kind of automatically makes your writing sound more personal and informal, and unless you've been told to use it specifically, you don't want to. And you really don't ever want to use second person point of view where you use you and your as your pronouns in your writing. That's kind of a no-no in general. So stay away from those and focus on third person point of view. In terms of just kind of that informal versus academic writing style. So if you look at the informal example I give you here, in this paper I will discuss that leaders come in all shapes and sizes and they don't always know what they're talking about. Well, all of that might be true, but it just sounds too informal for a college paper. First of all, notice the writer announces what he's getting ready to do. In this paper, I will. You want to stay away from phrases that sound like that. Also, notice the phrase like shapes and sizes. That's kind of a slang term, okay? It's kind of a cliche. It's a saying. You want to stay away from things like that in formal writing. And just in general, it sounds too informal. If you look at that same idea written in an academic writing style, it might sound like this. Leaders have different styles, but their knowledge levels can differ greatly. I've essentially said the exact same thing, only I've said it in a more academic writing style that's a bit more formal, okay? So we're going to move on to talking about just writing a good paragraph. Now, I realize that as college students, you've probably been writing paragraphs since you've been in first or second grade, but everybody needs a good refresher on this, and sometimes students have not been in a composition course or an English course for a long time, so it's really just a good reminder of good paragraph skills. What I'm showing you here is just a very basic 8-sentence sentence paragraph format. And if you can learn this, I am a firm believer that you can plug this into almost any writing assignment for any paper in any course. And you can expand it. You can certainly add more sentences in there, but those are the basics that you really want to focus on for any good paragraph. So you can see there I've listed the 8 sentences. Your topic sentence where you have your main point. Notice you've got 3 examples or reasons, and for each example or reason you add some explanation and you wrap it up with a concluding sentence that restates your topic sentence. So we're going to look at some of the parts of this in today's writer's workshop. First of all, for a topic sentence, you've got to begin a paragraph with one clear sentence that states your main point, or else your reader is not going to know what you're talking about, and that one sentence is going to help you as a writer stay on track. So tell your reader your topic and the point you want to make in a topic sentence as you begin a paragraph. You really are going to be able to use that as a guide. There should be nothing else in that paragraph that does not directly relate to the topic sentence. And don't forget, indent it. A lot of times students forget to indent the first sentence of a paragraph, and even though they know that's something they should do, they forget sometimes, so don't forget to indent it. One reminder to you is to make sure that you're using transitional words as you move from idea to idea in your writing. They're certainly very helpful to improve the flow of your writing and to connect the ideas within a paragraph. So here are some tips here. You want to avoid the obvious ones, like don't use first, second, third. There are more interesting transitions. I'm going to give you some of those here in a minute. And whenever you're moving to a new idea, put a transitional word in there. That helps your reader understand that, hey, I'm moving on and here's how it connects. So they're really helpful. If you're someone who your writing tends to sound kind of choppy, I think if you start using transitional words, your ideas will link better together, your writing will have more flow. So here are just some common transitions that we see a lot of time in writing. Certainly this is not a comprehensive list, but these are common ones that can really go a long way to moving through your ideas in a paragraph. If you need a nice list of transitional words, you can easily go online and just simply search for common transitions in writing, and you will see all kinds of lists pop up. Print one of those out, keep it on your desk or your workplace, and whenever you're writing, look at those to remind yourself that you need to be using them, and they can really help the flow of your writing. So make sure that you're doing that. Another thing that you want to do in a paragraph is after each example or reason, you want to take some time to actually explain it. You can't just move from reason to reason or example to example without explaining a little bit each one so your reader knows why you used it. Why did you choose that example? Why did you choose that reason? So make sure you have a little bit of explanation in between each of those 3 examples or reasons in a paragraph. Those can add further explanation of your examples, add additional insights, they can clarify all the things that are kind of the hallmarks of a good writer. So make sure that that commentary, which is that explanation, it's not just rewording your example, because that doesn't add to anything. It actually explains your example or reason, and that's an important part of good writing. And you always have to have a concluding sentence for a paragraph. You have to wrap it up. So make sure that your concluding sentence doesn't just bring up some random new idea. You want to make sure that it is a restatement of your topic sentence, so your reader has kind of some closure there to the end of your paragraph. It should essentially summarize your paragraph's main points, and it should be somewhat interesting and thought-provoking. You want to end your paragraph well. So we're going to look at all of this put together. This is just a very simple 8-sentence paragraph, and I've color-coded each part of it here so you can see. So notice that the red sentences, Those are that's your topic sentence and your concluding sentence, and those should reflect the same point. Different words, but same point. Notice your blue sentences, those are your examples or reasons, and then the green is a little bit of explanation in between each of those examples or reasons, so you can add a little bit more insight into each of those. Do you see your transitional words in there as well? Notice I've got one type, furthermore, finally, words like that that help my reader connect my ideas and help my writing flow better. So let's take a look at this paragraph together. Although students differ in their educational needs, 3 common types of students take advantage of online classes. One type is the independent student. These students do not need much direction to perform well. Furthermore, many students who work full-time benefit from online classes. Their work schedules require the flexibility of online instruction. Finally, some parents of young children enjoy online classes. Being able to accomplish schoolwork at night after children are in bed works well for many parents. Online classes are an effective way to serve a variety of students with distinct needs. So hopefully going through the parts of a well-written paragraph are really going to help you master this. If you can master paragraph writing, you can really write a paper of any length, because all a paper is a lot of paragraphs put together. So if you can master one, you can write a 10-page paper, no problem. And I'm hoping too that the color coding of each part of the paragraph helps you see that there is an actual organizational plan that you can learn, that you can plug in to really any writing assignment. So I hope this was helpful to you today as we talked about academic writing style and paragraph writing. I'll see you in the next Writer's Workshop.